In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a cardboard house using like the template. So this one is going to kind of look like this shape, and I will be using scrap pieces of cardboard to cut it. So try and use smaller pieces. I know it's really nice to have a nice big cardboard piece, but we always have all these extra smaller pieces, so try and use those first, and it's kind of easier to cut out if you're using a scissors. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have to trace two of each of these shapes. So I got my front and back, the sides, and the rough, and I have to trace two of them on each of the cardboard and then cut them out. So I like to just line it up on the bottom because this is nice and straight, and then I won't need to cut that out. And using a pencil, you're just going to trace around it. Once you trace it, you'll use your scissors or a cardboard cutter to cut them out. And then we'll do the same on everything. So you'll make two of each. Okay, now that I have them all cut out, I have two of each, and they should be roughly the same. So when I'm like putting them on top of each other, they should look the same. If one is like for some reason like shorter or weird looking, it just might make your house look a little sloppy. They should be just the same. Now when I'm putting them together, I want to make sure that the nice part of the cardboard is sticking on the outside. So if it has like ink or sometimes like this weird stuff on it, have that in the inside, because it's really hard to paint over all these different colors and it's shinier, but it's pretty easy to paint over just a flat cardboard color. So when I'm putting this together, I'm going to start with my sides, gluing them to the side of the house. And I want to make sure I'm lining up the corners. So it's really important that this right here is lined up, because then we're gonna have to put on the rough. So to add my glue, I'm gonna put just a small bead of glue and then stick my side piece. Okay, then for this side, I have to make sure I'm putting it inside, so kind of look around, see where it's at, but the bad side should be on the inside. So I'm putting this small bead of glue again, and then sticking it. If you're using a ton of, wrong side. If you're using a ton of glue, your project's gonna take longer to dry. It's also gonna have more of a chance to look really sloppy. So you want enough glue to where it stays, but not so much glue where it's running everywhere, because then it looks like a mess and it's wasteful. So when I try and put the glue, like this is the thickness of the board, my glue should be that same thickness or less. It should never be like pouring down. That's way too messy. Okay, then I'm gonna add my back pieces, and you can do this one at a time and then stick it and then glue the other side. I would suggest that. Another thing I really suggest is this little point should be touching the cardboard. Wherever I'm putting it, I'm putting the metal to the cardboard. That way I know it's going where I want it to go. If you're like holding it above, it's just gonna drop randomly. So make sure that metal part is hitting your cardboard. Also, the benefit of using less glue, it takes less time to dry, and then it's usually not as hot. So if you accidentally get the glue on you when it's like thinner, it doesn't burn you as much. Okay, now I'm going to add my roof. So for the roof, I had to put it on both sides and then stick one of the sides, and then I'm going to put glue on the other side and stick the other side. Okay, now if you have any gaps anywhere, we can do two things. You can either try and squeeze some glue in between and see if you can kind of press them to close, or you can use masking tape just to kind of put a piece of tape over it. It's not the best solution, but it does kind of look nicer than a gap. So I'm just going to show you, this isn't really that bad of a gap right here, but if it does bother you, and just for an example, I'm going to show you how to add the masking tape. So I want as little masking tape as possible because, yeah, it's not the best fix, but it is better than anything. So I put the masking tape and then just smooth it out with your finger. And then if I'm painting this whole thing, I would just paint over the masking tape, and it'll kind of look a little bit better than having a gap. Okay, so now I'm ready just to paint it, decorate it, do whatever I would like with that.